Hello and welcome from TradeLogic International, the logical solution for international trade. My name is Steve Fodor, and today I'll be talking about the additional duties that are being assessed on products of Chinese origin. Before we begin today, I'd like you to take a look at our disclaimer. The information that I'll be providing in this video is for informational purposes only. These are complex matters, and legal advice should be obtained from either a customs attorney, customs broker, or from a trade consultant. And we encourage you to do that. Just so you're aware, TradeLogic International is a trade consultant, and we'd be happy to answer any specific questions you might have. You can email us info@tradelogicintl.com, and we'll respond to you as quickly as possible. A question many may be asking today is, why am I being forced to pay additional duties on the products that I import from China? Some common questions I've heard are, well, I've never paid that much duty before, or I didn't realize that my products would be subject to these additional duties, or, well, I can only buy my product from a supplier in China, so what other options do I have? We're going to explore all of that today. So why are these additional tariffs being assessed? Section 301 of the Tariff Act of 1974 authorizes the U.S. Trade Representative, acting under orders of the President, to implement trade sanctions to penalize a country in order to help resolve trade disputes and to force that country to take steps to open their market to U.S. products and producers. The reason for the additional duties that we're seeing today is that China has been accused of the following: of placing restrictions on the foreign ownership of Chinese-based companies. China has also had stringent technology transfer rules in place requiring that U.S. companies surrender some of their technological data and information in order to access the Chinese market. China has also bought up some U.S. firms with the goal of obtaining the technology from those firms and using that to copy or reproduce those products at a lower cost. China has been accused of cyber spying, and China has been accused of unfair trade restrictions, especially the high duties that they place on many imported products. Because of these accusations against China, the U.S. Trade Representative has implemented two types of sanctions. First, and the one that we'll talk about today, are the additional duties on products that are imported from China. The second sanction that has been put into place is a restriction on Chinese investment in U.S. firms. When the news of a trade war was first published, many thought, well, these two countries have been doing business together for decades. Surely there's not going to be a trade war. Surely this would be a losing proposition for both China or the U.S., and surely cooler heads will prevail. Unfortunately, we found that a trade war is not only likely, it's underway, and it's growing, it seems, on a daily basis. During round one of the trade war, a 25% additional duty was placed on certain products imported from China. List number 1 took effect on July 6th, and that 25% additional duty was placed on goods like machinery, electronics, and a wide range of other items. In fact, over 800 items faced this additional duty charge on List 1. Round 2, or List 2, took effect on August 23rd, and even more products were subject to the additional 25% duty. On List 2, that 25% duty was assessed against other products such as petroleum products and chemicals, iron and steel products, and more machinery and more electronics products. Actually, it added several hundred new items to the duty list, also subject to 25% additional duty. Round 3 of the tariffs recently began on September 24th, and in this round, the goods subject to duty are subject to a 10% additional duty that will rise to 25% additional duty as of January 1st. On List 3, this 10% duty has been assessed against a huge number of products, and those same products are scheduled to see that rise to 25% additional duty on January 1st. This includes many consumer products, food products, minerals, chemicals, plastic and rubber products, luggage, textiles, hats, flooring and carpeting, machinery, electronics, furniture and home decor, and many, many items. This list is over 5,000 items long. Between the 3 rounds of additional duties, more than 50% of the products imported from China are impacted. And there is a threat that if the situation is not resolved, other products may be added to the list to the point that everything from China could one day be subject to this additional duty. All right, so what I've shared with you is a whole lot of bad news. One of the questions you might be asking now is, what do I do? How do I protect my company, and how do I protect our imports? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. One of the first steps that you should take is review the tariff classification that is used for your imported products to make certain it's correct. The additional duties are assessed based on the HTS classification of the imported product. And if your products are classified incorrectly, you might be paying duty that you don't owe, or, and just as bad, you might be not paying duty that you do owe. Either way, you need to fix that problem. And the best way to do that is to make certain your harmonized tariff classifications are correct. Let me say that HTS classification is a complex science, so it's best to deal with a customs broker or trade consultant who is familiar with the harmonized tariff and can assist you in the process. Another step companies are taking is they're looking for suppliers in countries other than China. One word of warning: as more and more companies look for suppliers outside of China, prices on products from those other countries are rising as well. It's the old supply and demand principle. As the supply dwindles, the demand increases, and so does the cost. Here's some things that you should not do. Just don't do it. Don't simply pick a new HTS classification number because it's one that isn't impacted by additional duties. To do this could lead to you being accused of committing fraud, and that can be punished in both civil penalties and criminal prosecution. It's also illegal to misdeclare the origin of your goods. I've heard stories of companies being told by certain disreputable parties that they can say, well, these goods aren't made in China, they're actually made in Vietnam or Malaysia or you name it. If you do that, it's a crime. Not only can your company be prosecuted and forced to pay huge penalties, but you as an individual, if you're one of the leadership team at your company, you can be prosecuted individually for a crime. And these carry long prison sentences. So don't do it. Do the right thing and just avoid these kind of pitfalls. TradeLogic International can help you. We can provide you with a review of your HTS classification numbers to make sure the number you're using is correct. That's critically important for every importer. We can also review the trade sanctions to see if they apply to your company and to find ways that you might be excluded from those sanctions. And if needed, we can refer you to an experienced attorney who can assist you in filing a request for exclusion. It's a very complicated process, so we highly recommend that you use an attorney to file those exclusion requests. Well, let me say this. The news has not been good. and I hate sharing bad news. But we're here to help. Companies that take steps now, that exercise due diligence now, are going to be the companies that not only survive these challenging times, they'll thrive. So contact us today, info@tradelogicintl.com, or you may phone me, 678-426-5930. This is Steve Fodor, licensed customs broker and president of TradeLogic International, and hope to be speaking with you soon. Thank you.